Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Black Gentleman's Culture Premium Cigar and Spirits channel. And today we are out front with the Field Scout. This is a 6x52 stick. I got this from Provided Club in my Cigar of the Month box from 2023, the month of September. As you can see here up here in the right hand corner. Now, that being said, this thing is a Puro of Unknown. Wrapper undisclosed, binder undisclosed, and fillers undisclosed. So, let's see what's going on. First of all, the body of this, I got a strong hay. There was nothing of jasmine or cocoa butter. Now, the foot itself, that was definitely floral notes. Hate to bring it back up, but if you had Buffalo Trace before, you know how florally that bourbon tastes? Yeah, that's what I got off of the cold draw and the foot of this cigar. Now, as far as the apricot, no. But there was a hint of a chocolate. I'm going to say dark chocolate. Like I said, that was coming off of the cold draw also with the heavy floral taste. That being said, they had a bunch of pairings. So I decided to go with a rum, Diplomatic Rum. So that's what I paired it with. So we're going to see how this works out. Like I said, everything is undisclosed, but this cigar was also aged a year and a half before Provided Club sent it out, and I aged this cigar 1 year and 11 months. So basically, this is a 4-year-old aged cigar. All right, folks, I'm going to see you after the first third, and I'm going to let you know how this and the pairing is going. Okay, everyone, welcome back. We have done with the first third. As you can see, this burn is basically razor sharp, and check this out. As you can see, this thing is full of stems. Now here's the wow part. The draw on this is perfect. If I wanted to use it as a straw, I could. There's nothing restricting the flow. Now, on top of that, this cigar is heavy with red pepper and a creamy smoke, and it also has some form of roasted nuts, no diddy, coming off of this. I can't quite get my finger on it, but it's heavy on the palate. Through the retrohale, you're definitely going to get that red pepper burn. So I would say this cigar is definitely strong. Now I paired this with some Diplomatic Rum, and I'm starting to think this may have been a bad pairing by me. Even though it said a rum could go with it, it said spiced rum, and I'm not a big fan of spiced rums. But I'm thinking about going ahead, ordering a couple more of this cigar, and I'm going to pair it with a tawny port. It says aged tawny port, and I'm actually a big fan of that particular wine. So I think probably either late September or early October, I'm going to do another video on this, but it will be with, like I said, a tawny port. Now, back to this. Like I said, the smoke coming off of this is thick and creamy, but yet it's heavy with roasted nuts and red pepper. That being said, I'm going to go ahead, continue on with it, and even though I said I'm a do a pairing, I'm going to stick with just this cigar because, like I said, I'll be doing an injustice because I didn't go with a spiced rum like it was recommended. And since I'm not a big fan of spiced rums, I'm not going to judge this cigar off of my mistake. All right, folks, I'll see you at the halfway point. Okay, everyone, we're back at the halfway point, and as you can see, the burn on this is still relatively sharp. And now here's the change. As far as the red pepper, it's still there, but not as heavy on the palate. Now the smoke is completely creamy, and like I said, with these roasted nut flavor on the back end. Now the retrohale is definitely a burner. You're going to get all the sting from that red pepper in this cigar. If I could change anything, it would be, like I said, me putting this with rum, because this particular rum is being overpowered by this cigar. So that's why I said earlier, I'm going to go ahead and get me a tawny port, and I'm going to pair it with this, because this cigar is strong. It overpowers this rum, and when it does, it intensifies the red pepper on the palate, and you really don't get that creaminess off of the smoke. You're just overwhelmed by the red pepper. That being said, the cigar, like I said, I've aged it, and I put a picture up with the cello. It's stained, the oils are coming through, you can feel it on the cigar, which makes the cigar feel quite fuzzy. So other than that, this cigar has, like I said, the red pepper has died down on the palate, but it is extremely heavy coming through on the retrohale. As far as that cedar, or that, it's gone. So I'm gonna just go ahead, keep going, and I'll do the next video at the halfway point, and at the final third, and I'll see if there's been any other flavor nuances coming through. That being said, see you then. Alright folks, we are down to the final third, and as you can see, still the construction and the burn on this cigar is immaculate. As far as the taste, it still remains the same, except for now the roasted nuts and the creaminess are the predominant things left on the palate. Again, that retrohale is nothing but fire with that red pepper. And that being said, there's nothing more you really can say about this cigar. Like I said, it has tons of stems in it, but yet the draw is still perfect. As you can see, I hit it with a straight cut. This cigar, to me, right now is at an 8. I think it could be better. That's why I'm going to order more of these, because I want to review it with something that won't be overpowered by this cigar. This cigar is extremely strong, nothing for a newbie, because if you give it to them, you're going to get a whole lot of coughing, and most likely they're going to put it down. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and you know what I love to say. If you have a bunch of cigars, go ahead and smoke them. If you have more than a bunch of cigars, go ahead and share them and make more cigar heads. Alright folks, I'm going to go ahead and check on out, and I'll see you with the next cigar.
There comes a time in a man's life when he has to choose between the truth and a lie. You know, and we love to love, but see, when we ask ourselves 21 questions about compatibility, it's time to flee. And I'ma say it's me. I think you're better without me. I'm sorry we don't talk no more. I had to go. We're going nowhere. I froze and froze again. I bet you think I'm lame, but I'm cool. I'm cool, baby. See, I've always been a floater like a satellite, 'cause I'm Cayenne, I'm flying, and I'm riding off to the stars, mother lover. Best believe you wouldn't find find another. Society's all lost. Cliff notes didn't fall off. Wanna call off. Popping bottles on the weekend, but I'm a workaholic, so in the weekend I'ma hit up the beats, man. All news like C-SPAN. Quiet hours, so I creep, man. Thriller, cooking crack dealer, but iller. I quit it cause I couldn't feel her. Just